To make progress, we need projects. And today I'm going to show you how to choose a project which will be meaningful to you, transform your drumming, and maybe even your musical life too. Having too many goals is ruining your progress. This happens to me where I go onto YouTube or Instagram or TikTok and find these amazing drummers doing awesome chops, great grooves, or playing in styles and playing gigs that I'd love to be doing. And having all these competing desires about the things you want to do makes it really difficult to choose which path to follow when you're practicing. This is why I think having one project and something that you have a clear start and an end on makes perfect sense in order for you to make progress. We need to understand that we don't know what we don't know. So having one large project, one large goal, and just that single goal, will mean that we need to break things down into smaller parts as we discover which parts of the project we can do and which we can't. For example, if you wanted to learn to play Latin American rhythms, well, that in itself could be broken down into tango, salsa, samba patterns, and so many more. And as we start to look at maybe the speed and coordination needed, you might need better hand technique or better foot technique. You might need some coordination exercises to fulfill that big goal. So having one large goal and then finding what you need to do to achieve it as you work through it will propel your progress far better than just learning one-off chops or single grooves without this kind of idea of what you want to do or be or achieve by the end of it. Because the size of the project, we really need to break it down. We need to understand that all of our big goals and aims will come with smaller milestones along the way. Personally, I want to design the greatest system for learning the drums. One that is rooted in cognitive science, in enjoyment, and in real, tangible things that you need to be able to do to be a great drummer. Our projects, which are in one way another name for a goal, but they are a larger goal and based on a transformation you want to see in yourself, need to be broken down into smaller parts. Personally, I want to design the greatest learning system for drums. I want it to be rooted in cognitive science and effective learning, make sure that we can make the best progress possible with the time that we have. I want it to be enjoyable and use technology in a way that makes us feel more connected as musicians when we're even practicing on our own. I want to make sure that people have the real basis and tools to go and become the best drummer they can and get there with the most effective route. In order to achieve the most effective system for learning drums, I first need to know what the ultimate drummer is. Does that even exist? If that's the case, how do we test that? What sort of assessment do we need to know where we are on our journey? And I think assessment's really, really important, but in order to have good assessment, we need to have a drum curriculum. We need to have a real structure to what we're learning and know that everything is progressing on top of each other. If you want to become the greatest jazz musician in the world, do you need to go down the same route as somebody who wants to play double pedal rhythms? And if we look at some of the greatest drummers that exist, they can do most genres really well. So I think of someone with like great foot technique like Benny Greb, or I think of Vinnie Colaiuta, Steve Smith, Annika Niles with incredible technique which could just span so many genres. These drummers have the ability to play almost anything, and with a little bit of time and practice they can transfer those skills. So I really want to work out what skills do we need to have to get there. Now this challenge, obviously I need to break it down into really small chunks. So whatever your goal is, which I'll get onto about how you choose yours, you need to be aware that you're going to have to take a few steps in the journey to then find out which direction you need to go after that. You know ultimately you want to achieve this big thing, but how do you take that first step? So let's look at that next. Choosing one project at a time, because of the fact that it has these smaller points to break down, means that you will inevitably become more rounded. You'll have to achieve all the parts of that puzzle in order to achieve your project. If you, for example, wanted to learn an album of songs, then there are going to become technique, coordination, groove, maybe music theory and reading aspects that are going to come along with you learning that. It might even be stamina in order to play that for so long. But one big project is going to make you more rounded than someone who just learns one lick or one chop. And these have their place, they really do. They're so valuable in if you use them correctly and can be creative afterwards. But if you know that your goal and your project is the thing you're aiming towards, you can keep your practice focused and be more excited about what you're going to achieve, rather than being kind of a single achievement and then again finding yourself unknown about what you're going to do next. So how to choose a project? Think of the drummer that you would like to emulate. It could be an album of songs they play. It could be one song. Maybe there's a style of drums you'd like to be better at. You might want to improve your Latin playing, your jazz playing, your double pedal playing, your linear funk grooves. And having this bigger ultimate aim will allow you to achieve better things within the practice time. So for example, if we chose wanting to be a better jazz drummer, then find 5 songs that you can't play at the moment and make them your goal. And make music the goal, really, in all of this, that it's not just a technical exercise. But after you find that you're those 5 songs, then you might find transcriptions of them or listen to them. You might want to learn how to transcribe. And as a result of choosing your goal then, you know that learning how to transcribe music becomes a sub-goal. You might find that there's coordination exercises with triplet swing grooves that you need to improve knowledge of. You might get books like John Riley's Bop Drumming book, or you might find jazz drumming courses on sites like Drumeo. This is where YouTube videos now become really beneficial, because you can start to use them to fuel your progress towards your goal. But ultimately choose something that really resonates with you and something you want to do now. It might not be the perfect thing, it might not be something that you can do, but ultimately choose something that resonates with you. It might not be the perfect choice, but it will focus your practice and help you achieve something. It'll make you rounded because it's not just a single idea or chop or lick, and it will help you focus everything you do for a shorter amount of time, especially if you're like me and you can only find 3 or 4 half-hour slots a week to practice on. And then take the first step. Try playing along with a track. Find that book, find that online course, find that YouTube video which answers your question, and even better, document the journey that you're on as well. And then you can look back at it via video format or even in just written format and see how much you've achieved. Practice goals and technique sessions are going to be really beneficial because they'll be focused on that single project. After discussing my first project of wanting to make that ultimate learning system, I think that I need to really get an idea about what the ultimate drummer is. And for me to do that, I'm going to start finding drummers that I love and learning their songs. I'm going to try and learn an album of songs and play them from memory. And that will be my first kind of mini project to see how I can learn or remember that. Do I need to write stuff down, use a bit of music theory, create lead sheets, or can I just remember them from the structure? But then by analysing my favourite drummers and the favourite tracks that I can play along with, I'll find the common threads and things which make the ultimate drummer. And then I'll start to share with you about the kind of ultimate drum library of resources and curriculum which I think makes the greatest drummer. And from there we can then create assessments and tests and a curriculum that really helps progress everyone and help everyone have a real clear goal about what the ultimate kind of rounded drummer is to become before you go off into a specialism. So follow along to the next video where I'm going to chart me learning 10 songs from one artist and then see how long it takes me to achieve that, and also the techniques and skills that I need along the way, and maybe finding the holes in my playing and something that will help me focus on practice and enjoy it at the same time.